Hi, welcome back. In this tutorial I'm going to show you something kind of strange. It's how to use a mandarin orange to determine some things about the way your body works. No two bodies are the same. And this will be really good for beginners, but I've also had very advanced players that I've shown this to, and it's given them a breakthrough. A note to beginners. Don't get overwhelmed with all this. It's fine if you just use one or two little parts, and come back to the video later and go deeper into some of the finer points. I learned this from a woman who had injured herself so badly. She was an orchestral harpist. She had to stop for 2 years. And she ended up going to an Alexander Technique certified trainer. And then she showed me the things that she had learned, and I show them to other people because it's incredibly helpful. So people ask, how high should I hold my elbows? Used to be in the old days, a lot of people were taught to play like that. And that's how that woman injured her tendons so badly, because it didn't fit with how her body is constructed. We're all a little bit different. So nowadays, some people say play with the straight wrist. That's actually not optimum for some people. So I'm going to show you how to find out exactly how much of an angle in your wrist you should have. So here's what you do first. You relax your hand, palm up, out in front of you. Just let it completely relax, flop. And you'll notice, looking in a mirror, that some people have a really defined angle here. Some people's hands are more straight when they're relaxed. Some people it's even more. But anyway, you'll find out what it is for you. And that angle is what you bring to the harp. So for me, I want to keep that angle that I had. I'm about like this. Some people, if you had a straighter wrist, you might play more like that. If you had more of a, I call it a valley in your wrist, if your valley was more like that when it was relaxed, then your elbows will be a little bit higher. It matters because if you put your hand out again and just wiggle your fingers and feel how comfortable that is, then do it this way and wiggle your fingers. And then bend it farther back than is normal for you and wiggle your fingers. And for me, that hurts all up and down here. But you will find that the most comfortable use of your tendons is where it's just naturally relaxed. You're finding that perfect angle. If you keep that angle, then you're going to have the best use of your tendons. But one thing that most people can't handle is a humped up wrist. Remember when you put your hand out, even if your hand was pretty straight when gravity was taking care of it, to hump it like that, it hurt. It hurt things. So generally, some beginners will start like that, and you don't want to be plucking with that position. So you want to keep that nice little dip in your wrist that you learned about, or if it's a lot of a dip, or if it's a straight wrist, you basically want to have that when you're at the harp. And some people, you'll see professionals will start to go up when they come off. And that might work for some people, so try it. And then if it doesn't work for you, then stick with more of a relaxed, but not humping up. You will see excellent players on YouTube sometimes doing that. It's this kind of a motion, and it can be very graceful and beautiful looking, but it's not good for everybody's wrist. So recently I had a new student who'd never played the harp before, and she was doing a lot of that when she was playing the harp. It was really hurting her. So we found out that her optimal position was like this. Again, some people, when they relax and gravity takes over, it's like that. But hers was like that, like mine. So this was a way that would protect her instead of going like that when she played the harp. So I had her put her wrist in that position and put some packing tape on it like that. And then when she started to do that, it would tighten up, and it made her aware that she was doing it, so she could keep a better position when she was at the harp. A little bit of flexibility, because it's not like a piece of wood, but she was able to become aware not to, I can't do it, not to hump her hand up like that. Sometimes I tell people to put a ball in their hand, but stick their thumb out to the side, so that when they turn it over, the thumb is up and their hand is still shaped, kind of like there's a ball in it. So when you're at the harp, it's as though that little, that could just hold a ball. So I'm going to let go of it now, but my hand is still in that shape, like there's a ball. So I look through the strings and I see that there's an invisible ball, and then I just pluck, pull it. So I'm looking down there at my invisible ball and plop, 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 plop. The main thing most beginners have a problem with is rotating their hand back when they start to play, instead of keeping it fairly stable or tipping it forward just a little bit as they leave the strings. So what you want is to not do this, because it tenses up your hand and there's almost no distance for your thumb to come. So instead, you keep it like that, not tipping, not rotating back to you. For those of you that are a little bit more experienced, when you first do this, I teach people just to keep the hand still and do it. But in reality, those of you that have learned how to do that, the next step is to allow the arm to move just a little bit with it. Sometimes people will tip it forward a little bit as they play and come up like that. That doesn't work for my hand. But anyway, but my elbow comes back, my larger muscles helping these smaller muscles of the finger. But at first, just do that just to learn to not tip your hand backwards, not rotate it backwards. So the two main things I hope you take from this tutorial are that nobody can tell you what's optimum for your wrist except your own body, and this is a great way to find out what your perfect wrist position is at the harp. If when you relax it's straight, that's fine. That's what you bring to the harp, like that. And then if it's way back like that, that's fine. That's what you bring to the harp. And obviously, this is mine. That's what I bring to the harp. That'll protect you and make your tone better. The second thing I hope you take is the experiment with the ball, where you just lightly grasp it And then you stick out your thumb like you're hitchhiking and bring that to the harp. And that gives you a great hand position, a kind of an invisible ball, some air in there. And the third thing is when you're playing the harp, not to rotate your hand back, crushing it against your thumb, to keep it more in a stable position or a slight rolling forward as you play the harp.